So one of the things I want to ask you, I want to actually read something. I seen you had wrote it on Facebook. And it says, this year I'll be going into who I am. Let's get this work in, no excuses. I gotta stop being an introvert.
Right.
What does that mean?
I made that post?
You made that post.
Because, okay, so when I look at the year, I look at the year around April, you know what I mean, around the Passover. That's how we gauge the Passover, right? And so what I mean by that is going into myself, if anybody has paid attention, I've done more interviews, more traveling, more battles. Some people say debates, we say battle in the UPK, because I think we need to increase the work. If we're looking at the time that we're in with the Israeli-Palestine thing, which is not stopping, even the riots in New York, they have so many rallies and stuff like that. You got that. You got the attack of black men and black women, where now if you look at any YouTube, if you want to catch fire on the internet, you're either attacking a black woman, you're attacking a black man. We got to get into that lane. It's so many different lanes that we got to get into, and podcasting is jumping up. Everybody's jumping up doing podcasts. I think even Richard Jefferson, you know, is now doing a podcast, and he did something. He got Tim Duncan on a podcast when Tim Duncan don't even come outside. So everybody is doing it. So I happen to have a name. That's what I meant when I said I have a name. But I am an introvert. I come outside when the schools say come outside. Like, I am in order. So what I'm simply saying is I need to be out more. I can't really stay inside as much as I would normally do. So that's what I mean, just to do more work.
So like early on, like before it was Captain Cesario, that's how you was in the world? Yeah,
in the world, I ain't go outside. I ain't, you know, teaching. I used to talk to a pole when I first taught. Like in 12th and Market, when we had the camp in Philly, I couldn't look to the left or the right. I was scared. But I could talk to this pole. And so, matter of fact, I used to practice in my daughter's room talking to the TV. So how I used to practice was I used to put the TV on, turn it all the way up. I put the radio on, turn it all the way up. And then I would study the scriptures, and I would have camp with myself like that to try to kind of deal with noise and stuff. The only thing I couldn't anticipate is people walking back and forth. And you know, when you speaking, they gonna be looking at you. And I wasn't that guy. I'm still not all the way comfortable. So I'll be like a slow starter. So I ain't the guy, like, for example, when I was doing a debate, that battle with the white boys on Twitter Spaces, Kadazar, like Chappelle said, Kadazar come in, he a straight shooter. He just straight, like he got the perfect name, Arrow. He just shoot. Me, I got to pull it back and then let it off. But that pull it back is like me talking, getting into the flow of it. And then once I'm in there, then I'm in there. Because this is not what I do naturally. Everything I do is supernatural with this, or spiritual is a better word to use. So
I've heard you on I don't know if it was a podcast. I think it had to be a podcast or interview when you was talking about growing up and being in the streets, the time you was in the streets. So I know you hustled a little bit.
Right.
And you was selling those sex pills. You remember that? You selling
the Viagra. You talking the Viagra, right.
So it's interesting, like, because I mean, drug dealing is a hand-to-hand.
Yeah, but I was terrible at it though. Like I wasn't good. I wasn't good at it. I was conflicted doing it because, you know, my father's a dope fiend, so I used to be conflicted with that. Like I'm out there selling what I'm mad my father not in the house for. So I wasn't really that good at it. And then if I did, I don't want to glorify none of it, but marijuana was like the what I call, like, you know, they say like the lesser evil.
Yeah.
You know, they say lesser of two evils. So I used to say, well, marijuana is like the drug you can sell and get away with. So I would sell that. And even with the Viagra, my brother gave that to me, and it sat in my closet for a while, maybe like a month or two. And I just happened to have a conversation with my barber. And when he found out that I had it, I brought it to him, and he knew somebody, but I didn't tell nobody like that I had. I was a horrible drug dealer, man. I glory in that though. I'm glad I wasn't good at that, because then I'd be either dead or in jail like what the normal life expectancy of a drug dealer is either dead or in jail. So I wasn't good at that either.
So is that why you stopped though? Because you weren't good at it, or was it something else that made you just say, you know what, I can't do this, ain't for me?
Yeah, it was like drug dealing and rapping was like what you did growing up as a kid, or sports. It was like sports, rapping, or drug dealing. So I was doing all three. So I played basketball, but I never got into organized basketball. But I used to play like down at the rec center or down at the park. I used to play like that. I even coached basketball a little bit. And the drug dealing I wasn't good at. And then I used to rap like everybody else used to rap. But then when I got like 21 or 22, I didn't see that going nowhere. Like I was saying to myself, like, I'm about to do this forever. Like if everybody's trying to rap, the numbers don't look good. If everybody hustling, the numbers don't look good. And if everybody playing sports, the numbers don't look good. So I said, well, maybe I just do a job. And I tried the military route. Even that don't work because they drug addicts and drug dealers in the military too. So none of that really worked. And my grandfather got me into the computers because I was always into the computers and stuff. And so it was my grandfather that said I was too young to do security because I was doing security. Now, one good thing, the security with this, it was this company called, this white boy named Bob Bonds had this security company, and he let me be the supervisor of it. So I was like doing the hiring, firing, and stuff like that. But my grandfather said I was too young to get caught up in security and to go do the computers. And so that's how I got into the computers, because of my grandfather. But that's why.
So, coming out of the world, finding the truth. So that's what brought you out of being the person you was in the shell to now the person that you are now?
Yeah, like being more outgoing and stuff like that. But even like the outgoing, like for example, when I leave here, I'm gonna go back and it's gonna be like I'm back in the zone by myself. I ain't gonna say, I'm not going out of here and saying, what else can I do to be seen? Or what else can I do to be outgoing? I'm not an outgoing type of guy. The truth broke me out of that. The Ask General Hyman, when they came to the Polight thing, right? I wasn't doing that. I went right to General Hyman. So we battled Polight. They say they want to debate. I go to General Hyman, I say, yeah, Captain Tyward gonna do it. Because I ain't doing that. General Hyman said, nah, you gonna do it. You started it, you gonna do it. And I'm looking at General Hyman. I said, now I'm saying count, I don't want to count at General Hyman, but I'm having no idea. And if you tell him, my idea of debating Polight was insane. Like I wanted to play like videos of embarrassing and do like this whole summit and Polight. I'm thinking it's about to be this whole, that's a good ass question because I never told this part. I'm thinking I'm about to have this whole extravaganza. I have no concept of this in-house debate and what I'm gonna do. And General Hyman brought it back down to earth. He said, you're gonna do exactly what you do at camp, you just inside. So it was through that counseling from General Hyman that actually taught me how to deal with Polights and Shakas and Wacks and whatever Jesse Lee Peterson from that tutelage that he gave me, because I had no concept.
Right, so I definitely want to go back to the Polight thing, but I wanted to start a little earlier, like you coming to the truth. So you in Jersey at this time, right?
Right.
And then you started driving to Philadelphia.
Right.
What, 5 days a week?
Yeah, it was every day. So at first I was doing Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So then General Mayak tells me, so as I'm doing that, General Mayak tells me, he says, in the Tuesday class, because General Mayak was teaching Hebrew at first. And so in the Tuesday class, General Mayak was like, well, if you want to get the best class, you want to come to scripture breakdown class. And so I said, when was that? He said that was Monday. So I was doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday, because Saturday was Sabbath service and camp. So I was coming to the Sabbath service. I couldn't come in the camp, but I used to come to the camp. I would film the camp. And I used to bring a chair first, but then I'm seeing all the brothers stand. I'm like, damn, this is some suckers. You sitting in the chair, they standing and all that. So I stopped using the chair too. So I stopped using the chair, but I used to film the camp. Like my old account on YouTube was like Tygas. It was like TYGASS 75. that count got smashed because I would just take the videos. I ain't know nothing about editing or nothing. I used to just throw them up as soon as I would come home. As soon as I would come home, I would throw them up. And so my Ty Gas account got clipped, and then my Tazaryak account got clipped because of that. Just throwing the videos up. So, but that's what I would do. So I would work 8:30 to 5. I was working at SPS. I would leave and then come down. And then they changed the hours at they had changed the hours at the job, and I had to work it out with them to be able to come in early to still be able to make class. And that was a 2-hour drive. Sometimes I wouldn't get to class. So if I was leaving exactly at 5, sometimes they would let me leave at 4:45. I would get to class maybe 6:45, maybe right at 7 sometimes. Sometimes I wouldn't get to class till like 8:30, class over at 9. And I would just do that for like 5 days. And then the school started reducing it. Like the school would say, okay, you ain't gotta come 5 days, just come these days, then just come these days. So they slowly reduced it and then eventually phased me out. I was a little mad when they phased me out though.
Why you mad about that?
Cause I love coming down. Like to me, it was like a routine. Like if you get me in a routine, I'm stuck. It's hard to get me out of that routine. So I loved coming down on Monday, because Monday was like the greatest ever. You get the 2-hour General Hyman class and then the 2-hour The Grill with Commander Jenny Honda. That's like 4 hours of like the greatest knowledge you're gonna ever get on the planet. But you know, they said it was time to focus on New York. So I got what they were saying, but I just didn't like it because I like coming down. So I would find excuses to come down.
So you worked it out with your slavery to get to class.
Yeah, I wouldn't take a lunch. So I even stopped taking lunch because we would get an hour lunch. So I would stop taking lunch to work it out to where I could come down. Where I messed up with the slave though, I was printing out the flyers at the slave. So we are not Africans at the slave. God loves blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians at the slave. And it wasn't so much printing them because I was printing them so they wasn't seeing them, but I was leaving papers there. And I remember my manager, hey, they found this here, you know, you can't do that here. So now they seeing what I'm printing at. And I was wrong to print it in the first place, but I wasn't even good at sneaking doing it. So, you know, that ended up being bad for me because when they started having layoffs, I was like one of the first people that they laid off.
The one is in there talking about the man. No, but I think it's funny because that's the zeal. When you at your slavery, you got to wait. We need flyers. That's always a thing. So okay, well I'm gonna print them here, and that goes like right along with driving 2 hours to class and working without taking a break at the slave to go to class and to be doing that. And you're not seasoned at this point.
No, I was just a young. I think I was a trooper or a young officer with the printing. Because you know that's actual work, so I had to be an officer at that point. But the time of getting the time off, I was just a young man and a trooper trying to get that time off to get to class.
So they phase you out. They telling you, hey, look, and it's brotherhood because I mean you driving 2 hours to get there.
Well, it was mainly to build New York. It wasn't about the 2 hours driving down. That wasn't what it was about. No, that's and the reason why I want to emphasize that is because like when brothers a call in, or like y'all down here, y'all started in a garage before y'all had it. So now we're not gonna stop y'all from getting the garage unless there's somewhere else to go. So there has to be something else to do in order to stop doing one. So if I still had to drive the 2 hours, then that's just what you gotta do. You know what I mean? I don't ever want nobody to think that just because you started off doing 2 hours at some point that stops, unless there's something else to replace that 2 hours. Because that 2 hours is coming down to Philly to go to class. Now, if I'm not coming to class, which is what's the most important thing, and I'm staying up here, then what am I doing up here that I'm not coming down here no more? So if I had to do that right now, I'd be doing that right now. But what it would show is there ain't nothing up here.
Right.
So then it would be a failure.
Right.
Because at some point, you have to have something in your zone. And that's what we all supposed to do. You're supposed to build something that's local to you, something that's a little closer.
So now, like, okay, obviously now you Captain Zariak, King of New York. You know what I'm saying?
That's what Commander Jenny Hunter said.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
Right.
Right.
A lot of people, I've heard you say it.
That's because that's what Commander Jenny
Hunter
said.
I just wanted to get that on record.
I got that from
Commander. I'll tell you when I heard you say it.
What?
It was the last time, I believe it was the last time we was in New York. Remember when we had the banquet after Hebrew Academy? They had bought out the banquet room and they had all the food in there. So you had parked like across the street somewhere. And you Captain Zarya, you know what I'm saying? Right. So we ain't just had you just walking by yourself. So I was trying to walk out there to meet you to kind of like, shamar you a little bit. And it was cars coming, but you didn't walk fast. You know what I'm saying? You
said I didn't walk fast, I'm walking slow.
You walking slow on the coast.
My ribs say that all the time, yeah.
He was like, I'm the king of New York.
That's just me. Okay, all right. I am a Judite. I am a Judite. Judites gonna talk trash. So that's just trash talking. But those titles come from the generals. Even like the Chemic Killer and stuff like that. Those are all titles that the general gave.
Who gave you Thanos?
I don't know who gave me Thanos. That might be the only one I took. Because I think I say I'm Thanos and Darkseid. I like Darkseid too from DC.
I just seen you post that recently, right?
It's like a photo of him or something like that. I like Darkseid too, so yeah. But Thanos make a lot of cats disappear.
And you did that.
And so through the Most High, we made a lot of cats disappear. Where the conscious community at? They gone. We don't know nobody in the conscious community no more. They greatest icon for light in jail right now. So, where's the conscious community at?
So, like I was saying, so I know King of New York, that was given to you.
Thank you.
The captain over headquarters.
Right.
Now, we know what that means today. The truth started there.
Right.
Back then, did you know the significance of building the New York school?
No, the only thing I knew was that Jenny Hunter wanted to come back to New York. But I never really looked at it like this is, 1 West 125th Street. This is the true significance of it. I never really realized it until I saw everybody trying to copy as well. So it's almost like twofold. So as I'm starting to see the value of Harlem being Jerusalem for us today, when I start seeing other Israelites trying to lay hold to that or lay claim to that, and they can't, then I saw why Jenny Hunter wanted it to be that way as well. Like Jenny Hunter's such an excellent son to his fathers, wherever it would have been at. If it would have been Cali, he'd have said, we got to get Cali. If it would have been Arkansas, he would have said, wherever he would have got it from, wherever that foundation was at, is where he would have made sure that was established at. So I didn't understand it in the beginning, but I slowly understood it, especially when we started battling in Harlem. I didn't even fully understand it in Times Square. I just looked at it more like nostalgia. It was nostalgia that we was at Times Square before, so let's go back to Times Square now. But when we went back to Harlem and got into the heart of Harlem and started battling and started seeing the feel and the vibe of what Harlem was giving, then that's when I saw the value and I saw the vision that Commander Jenny Hunter had, because Harlem, going back to 125th Street, really is where we started putting foot to behind, like foot to pound, like pounding the dirt and stomping every religion that you can think of out. And religions, listen, I always knew about black people following Egypt, but I did not know they followed Egypt like that. And so even like 5%ers didn't know they was into it like that. Islam didn't know too much, because like you know about it like from movies and stuff like that, but if that was never your belief, like Christianity I knew because I grew up Christian. But these other belief systems, I'm unaware, but all of them is in Harlem. And all of these stars is in Harlem. And so once we start mashing them out and I'm seeing that, then I understood, okay, this is the significance of establishing or reestablishing headquarters to what it was.
So you most definitely resurrected headquarters.
So
let me ask you this. So when you came back to resurrect headquarters, what was your rank?
I was a 5. So when we first had the Passover at Malcolm X, I was a 50. But when I started doing that, when they told me to start getting like, cause we first started like with like finding a library and a place to have class, I was a 500 at the time, and then 5,000. So I was at 5,000 when I was battling Polight and stuff like that. I got captain like 2 years later.
Wait. The battle when you battled Polight when he paraded
he was
5,000.
We see what's the last part?
Yeah, when you saying when he paraded the.
Yeah, when he paraded around, I was at 5,000. I had just got 5,000 in July or August. So we was battling Liberty Place. Even my 5,000, I'd be so oblivious. When I got that rank, I didn't even know I was getting that rank. Commander General Hunter comes up and he's like, we're gonna raise a brother up. I'm manning the computer. And I just stand up to go get the oil. I was almost ashamed that I stood up because General says, oh, you know you're getting raised up. And I'm like, no, I'm getting the oil for to give to him. I'm not knowing I'm getting raised up. And I hated that I did that because I don't want to come off like I'm getting raised. I didn't know, but I was going to get the oil and then he raised me up. And so that was like the summer of that year. And that's how you know it's so spiritual. So as soon as he give me that rank, Captain Taiwan is still running New York. I'm just in support of them because I'm up here. So Philly was driving up to the camp. So you see all of Philly up there. So you'll see Captain Taiwan, you'll see men that ain't here no more, so I'm not saying their name, but you'll see men in there that drop their sword like punks, and they will come up every week. And so Captain Taiwan allowed me to have that battle with Polight, but I was at 5,000 doing all of that.
So because I remember the Africans Gone Wild.
That's fine. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
So even around that time, he was running the camp.
Yeah, he was still in charge. Yeah.
So him and I love that brother.
Yeah, Captain Taiwan.
Captain Taiwan, man. Like when it comes to brotherhood,
right?
And how because he's so high ranked, you're gonna respect the rank regardless. Mm-hmm. But when you talk to him, you get to know him. You can see like this is real. This brother genuinely loves his brothers. Yeah. And for you to be charged with resurrecting headquarters, and I'm sure he was the captain at the time already.
Yeah, he was a captain at the time, right?
And didn't stand in your way to try to, because New York is the media capital.
Right.
I mean, like you talk about 5%ers. I've never even heard of that until I got into the truth. Because down here, it's a Bible belt. So
right.
Really, few Muslims, jailhouse Muslims, but Christians are people that just don't believe at all.
Right.
So for you to get into the media capital of probably the world, and knowing what's going to come with it. I mean, it's going to be some, not that you're in for it, but it's going to be some recognition and some shine. Mm-hmm. And instead of standing in your way, he literally just was there to see you do it.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about the UPK, man. Like I can't speak for nowhere else, but in here, I have not experienced any non-brotherhood, even if you have a disagreement. But I have not experienced none of that. And Captain Taiwan just passed that torch. And I tried, like I tried to give it to him. He's like, nah, you got it. Like we'll gladly watch another brother go and get the glory before we try to take it from him. And so he told me to do it. And then now the battling part I can do because I used to battle my mama when I was younger. So I battled my mama so much. I just knew I was right. Even when I knew I was wrong, you couldn't tell me. So the whole back and forth, now I can do that. Like I could argue with anybody because I used to think I was right. And so that part was easy. But Captain Taiwan just embodies that. And I came up under him. So he taught me just as much as everybody else that outranked me taught me.
And it's like, how when you watch a movie and let's say like Training Day, and you're like, oh, The Matrix. Mm-hmm. You see Keanu Reeves as Neo, you're like, man, he really, really played that role well. And then you find out that they really want to give that role to Will Smith. Right. And it's like, I couldn't have seen him doing that. Like this man was like perfect for it. Right. Do you kind of feel like that by New York? Like you were perfect for New York?
Nah, I only feel like the generals told me to do it is the only reason I'm able to do it. Like if General Muhammad never says to do it, then I wouldn't be able to do it. I don't know how to walk into and say, I'm made for this. I know I'm made to follow orders. And so if the generals give me an order, I know that I can do it because they said so. Like General Muhammad will tell you, I don't have to call him as much as I used to but I used to wear him out in the beginning. And so he would say what to go to, what not to go to. Like I remember that SETI Nazi debate, he says, don't go to that. And I didn't go. I didn't understand. I wanted to go because that was like right after the Polight debate. And so I'm getting recognition and the school is getting recognition from that. And General Muhammad is, nah, don't go to that one. And I'm glad I didn't go. They playing them African drums and we know Nazi ended up being a pedophile. So now I would have been up there supporting them with that. So now I'm separated from that. So then I started learning, okay, I start knowing, okay, these events I should be at, these events I shouldn't be at. So I don't look at it like I was made to do it. I look at it more so like the generals saw what was to be done. And so they know how to pick men to do certain things. Like Commander General Yohana is good at saying, okay, he can set this up. He can go here. Like Yachty can be in charge of Texas, or Captain Yadazat, let me say that for people that don't know. So like Captain Yadazat, he can be in charge here. Captain Goodall in California was not the highest ranking man at the time. But I knew, because I was in charge of Cali. So like the way it used to be, they put people over different zones. So I was over like, I think, Jacksonville and then California. Goodall was in Florida. And there was a brother that outranked Goodall, but he wasn't fit to do the job. So now we ain't just gonna remove nobody because they was at the same rank at the same time, but we knew Goodall was perfect for it. And then there became a way to put Goodall over. And then once Goodall got over, he took over. So sometimes you just see, sometimes the men above you see what is right. And so I don't think I was made to do anything but follow whatever the men above me said to do.
And even with that, like
but before you do, the only thing I was made was to be in the truth. I am made for that.
Right.
So that's one thing I am absolutely made to be in the truth. Now where I go in the truth doesn't matter as long as I'm in the truth.
I remember, my time at camp, especially when I was a trooper, people just walk up and just say anything. And then I started going back and watching your old videos. And I remember watching y'all at camp and seeing Polight hit the block. And I remember thinking to myself, like, because I remember that was the first time. Mm-hmm. Polight you don't know nothing about Egyptology?
Nah.
Polight just walks up on the camp with a camera challenging what you're teaching out here with no preparation. How did you, what was going through your mind? Like, how did you know that, I know what I got to say. I know, how do you fight something you've never fought before?
Because, like, if you're not in this school, right, I just think I'm better than you. That's about as best I could tell it. If you're not in the Israelite school of UPK, you're not smarter than me, you're not better than me, you're not stronger than me, you're nothing. Now, it doesn't make me be prideful in the sense that I think that I don't have to study or anything like that, but I believe that the Lord is with ISCPK. And so in the book of Jeremiah, remember Jeremiah didn't want to go teach, right? And the Lord said, if you don't go do this, I'll confound you. But if you go do this, you're going to slaughter everybody that's in front of you. I'm paraphrasing Jeremiah, the first chapter. Like Jeremiah 1:5, the Lord told Jeremiah, when you was in the womb, I knew what you was going to be. All of that is encouraging. So I don't say that with pride, but I do know if you come in front of this camp, you're not really challenging me, you challenging the Most High, because we trying to do the work of the Lord. You're against that. So if you're God's enemy, you're my enemy. The scriptures say, if you serve the Lord, I will be an enemy to your enemies. I'll be an adversary to your adversary. I don't know nothing. What I mean when I say I don't know nothing, if the battle we had with them white boys yesterday, them Jewish guys, I don't know if they the smartest Jewish people I'm ever gonna meet, but I do know I serve the Lord, I'll beat them. That's the best I could tell you. So when I go in front of this guy, it could be Polight, it could have been Wack, it could be the president of the United States. I'm just not impressed. You're just gonna be the next guy that's gonna fall by the sword. Elijah in the Bible is like my favorite prophet. Outside of Christ, Elijah is my favorite prophet. And when he battled, it was one man, it was just him against 450 prophets of Baal. And while he's battling them, he's clowning them. He's like, but maybe your God's asleep. Maybe he on a journey. Maybe he ain't hearing it. That's how he talking. So if anybody noticed, that's how I battle. I battle just like that. So whether it's 1 or 1,000, it just don't matter. So I know they're going to come out. They about to talk about the Bible. They don't know. If you ain't in here, you don't know the Bible.
Right.
So now it's just a matter of just listening to what you say. Now that's one thing I'm good at, is I will take the time to listen to what you say, not for a gotcha moment to just annihilate everything about you. Once I find out your flaw, I would just exploit the flaw. So when Polight and them is coming up, I'm looking at like, hey, who is this? Now, the week before that, though, Sinetta had came, so I knew Sinetta, but I ain't know all these cats, and they came like 30, 40 deep. Like they came, because like back then, the way the street was, it wasn't no Whole Foods, so it was just like an open parking lot. So as we looking and you watching and me, Captain Tyward, we in the back, and we just see all these cats walking and they come, they standing in front of the camera, we just looking at them. And we wasn't in a rush to talk to them, you know, because they would have to talk to us because our protocols, we don't make personal attacks. So once he started talking, and I think he asked about kings, I'm like, okay, he don't know what he's talking about. And the more we just dialogue, it just became, you know, it just became simple to me. Like I figured Polight out easily. Polight is a cat like Damon Wayans when he used to be like, I capitulate, and he use all them big words, but it don't mean nothing. And so I just knew that's how he was. So I knew he gonna overtalk. And reading comprehension, if anybody been in high school, when you do reading comprehension, the point of the story is the beginning. The middle is filibuster, and then the end is back to the point at the top. So when I listen to anybody, I'm listening to you in the beginning. I'm still listening to all the stuff in the middle, but all the stuff in the middle ain't got nothing to do with what was in the beginning. And then at the end, you're gonna try to bring it right back. That's pretty much everybody. And so that's how I do it.
So now you catch them on the street, they come up to the camp, they get crushed. So now they want to do a formal debate or a battle, like what we would call it.
Right.
And I remember you said that you called Jeremiah Hyman, and you got this elaborate plan.
Yeah, I had like a summer jam screen to put up, Polight getting crushed by us and all of that. And Jeremiah Hyman was like, man, we ain't doing none of that. He said, that's over. He said, that was over when it happened. And so I ain't know no strategy. I ain't know nothing. It was just me and Soccer War at the time. Soccer War, and I didn't know nothing about, I didn't know no Nuwabianism, or the title of that battle is the God of the Bible a woman? And does the Bible copy from ancient other cultures? That was the title. So the God of the Bible is a woman. I knew, that was going to be easy to beat. The other part I wasn't sure. What I mean by not sure, because I didn't know where he was coming from, because I didn't know enough about him. I didn't even know nothing about no Nuwabianism. So I had to study all of that and stuff. So General Hyman brought me back down to earth, because I was flying. I didn't know where I was going to go with that. But General Hyman brought it back to earth, and then I just started studying it.
Now, when I remember watching that when I came into the truth, and I went back and watched all the old tapes just to get caught up. And I remember specifically, like Captain Sakawar was at a computer.
Right.
And it was like, to me, it looked like, it wasn't a PowerPoint, it was just like a bunch of information. Like you knew where it was at, but if I wanted to find something, I wouldn't be able to find it.
Right.
Like it was like that. And that has been the model for the rest of the battles.
Yeah, because just like any battle, and what's interesting, you said that, so they would make fun saying that we used it like that instead of having a PowerPoint. But it's all a computer. It's all an app on a computer, no matter how you line it up. The difference though between a PowerPoint and how we did it was, a PowerPoint is in a specific order. So because we didn't know how the strategy would go with him, we wasn't sure that a PowerPoint would be necessary, but we did know if we put an African folder, a Malachi York folder, biblical facts folder, timeline folder, dresses folder. Like the dresses was showing the effeminization of black men. We knew if we had these in folders, I could talk about a certain thing And because me and Soccer Ward knew the folders, he would know how to pull it up. Because the first 2 rounds was a freestyle. That first round with Polight, we pulled that up there. Because when he started talking about the 501c3 and stuff like that, we just pulled up the website. And then he pulled up Eve. Talk about Eve was Hawa, not Kava, in ancient Hebrew, and in modern Hebrew. And so we did all of that on the fly. So the first 2 rounds I did it on the fly. So we would have had a PowerPoint. It would have handicapped us. And then in retrospect, when Polight battled Ali Muhammad, he did it the exact same way that we did it. So PowerPoints was cool, but the folders was just better. It's more tactical. Or if I was to say how we say it, it was more practical to do folders than to do PowerPoints.
Now, when you spoke about Elijah and how he made fun of those prophets, is it fair to say Elijah was the first person in recorded history to throw ad homs?
Yeah, probably so. I mean, unless we read about somebody before Elijah. I mean, David though. Remember, David said, who is this uncircumcised Philistine? Who is this uncircumcised Philistine? Think he could do something? So he the first, and there's probably some before that.
Yeah.
I mean, so I would say maybe David might be the first in a battle, because it was a battle. So I would say David first, but Elijah definitely that's my go-to.
It's just funny that there's nothing new under the sun.
Nah. And what's good about that is because people in the world will say, why do you talk like that? Like, we get a lot of flack for clowning these different belief systems. And they say, why do you do that? And I don't think people really understand, like, God hates those other belief systems. There is no multiple, like Islam, for example. Islam will say, well, y'all God and our God is the same. And I would just simply say, well, why they don't have the same name if they're the same? If they're the same, why is your God Allah and ours is Yahweh? Even in English, it's Jehovah. It's not the same name. Why they don't have the same practices? Why do y'all have Ramadan? We have Day of Atonement. Why do y'all not have a Passover? Because I would think a God that wants the earth to serve them would want the earth to serve him the same exact way. So we get a lot of flack for doing that, and which is why I will always quote what they did in the Bible. And they did worse in the Bible. After Elijah battled them 450 prophets, you know what happened?
Yeah, they killed him.
Unalive. They ain't here no more. Okay, my God is real. Slay them. We ain't doing that. My God is real. We just kick y'all out. That's it. So it's a little easier in today's time than it would have been back then.
So now I remember, vividly, I think y'all was just transferring from Israelite Vibes to Cross the Line Radio, and around the same time y'all had got the building. And I remember saying, when we go back to New York, I have to go to this building for class. I have to be in this building. What did it mean for you to be able to get a building in Harlem back in the home of the truth?
Yeah, that was everything. We actually changed the name when we got the building. But that was everything, because we was looking so long. We was at the MLK Rec Center. It was 2 West 115th Street. We was there for 2 years, and everywhere we would go, and I would work with different ladies. I was working with 2 different ladies trying to find a spot. And it wasn't really an issue of finding a spot. It was once they knew who we were, we would lose the spot. So we would go, we'd visit the spot, meet the white people, tell them, they would ask us about us, we would give them all the information, and then it would always fall through. So it was just having that fight at that point, because it was a lot of real estate there. Even the old 1 West spot we could have had, but they just didn't want to let us have it. So that's why we couldn't even get it. And so when we finally got that spot, when I got the key in my hand, I took a picture, posted it. That was everything. I lived there. And because Jenna Muhammad was we got to tear the whole thing down. So we had to gut the whole inside. So we there every day. It's almost like when you get a home. When you get your home for the first time, and it's different from renting. So when you renting, it's only so much you can do. You might be able to paint the walls, but you can't revamp the whole place. Whereas with your home, you can do whatever you want. So it was like a place of rest for me. We officially became Jerusalem in my eyes once we had that building. and nobody couldn't tell me nothing. And it was like the greatest thing ever. And it made General Yohana happy. You know, General Yohana went through hell. You know, a lot of people don't even understand what it takes to be General Yohana. To me personally, like General Yohana, nobody's lost more than him. You'll hear him always talk about General Hyman, General Wack, and the other generals staying with him. That's 4 or 5 brothers that stayed with him, and at one time he had hundreds of brothers and just left because they didn't want to love the Most High. You know what I mean? So I think it was more being able to do this for, now, and we all do this for the Most High, so I don't want our enemies to say you're doing this for a man. But Ephesians 6th chapter does say, servants, be obedient to your masters as you obey the Most High, and masters be obedient back, right? So we all do this for the Most High. We all do this for our King Christ. But to be able to reestablish this for Commanding General Yohana, to be able to give Commanding General Yohana brotherhood back that he might not have thought he would have saw based on what he went through. Like, I don't know if I would have been able to survive that. Like losing everybody, you know, at a time where the internet, you know, communication ain't what it is today.
Right.
So people may not even understand that. Like today you might lose some brothers, but you can go open up Clubhouse and now you got a camp. You know how many camps happen on Clubhouse? Camps happen every day on Clubhouse. So you can probably do it there, but this is in the 90s. This is in 2000 where it's not that communication and you can't pick up the phone and call that brother no more. He ain't there. So like, what does Commander General Yohana do? You know what I'm saying? So to reestablish all of this for Commander General Yohana meant everything to me.
So now, as humble as a brother that you are, I know you're gonna reject it, but do you believe you're a celebrity now?
Nope. Nah, all right. So I can't say that I ain't popular, but I wouldn't put myself all the way up there. Now, there's a time when I will, though. Like when it's time, like let's say if someone's trying to trash the school and stuff like that. So there's a time where you're gonna say, no, we do this. So there is a moment where you'll stand, or since you asked me about me, there is a moment where I'll stand on who I am, but I don't have to. And I think the lesson in that is, when you think about the early school, a lot of that, I'm the shit, or excuse me, sis, I didn't mean to say it, but I'm the best, is why that school fell. Is why, excuse me, I won't say the school fell, which is why those men left the school. So my humility comes with, like Moses. Moses, I think it was General Yohana said this, or General Hyman said this. As humble as Moses was, he still went out and slaughtered nations in the name of the Most High. So the humility that I have does not mean that I won't go out and smash and do whatever. And so from a celebrity position, am I popular? Yes. But I'm not gonna go into that. But that post that I made when I said I'll be more of myself, that does play a part in it. So it is something where I can take my popularity and utilize it to further push the truth, because I don't think I've used it as much as I could have, if I'm being honest. But I think that's kept me level-headed enough and kept the men around us level-headed enough to where we don't let this truth go to our heads to where we think we somebody, because we really is trash. Like the scriptures say, all our righteousness is as a filthy rag to the Most High. David said, if I could just be the doorman to the door. So we have to keep it there. So if I go out here and push what my name, if I was to act as my name rings bells, it might not look as good aesthetically. So I won't go into it like that. I hope I answered it.
I was on your post one day. I seen Lloyd Banks commenting on your post. Like so what I'm saying, a celebrity, and not in the sense of today's time, because you're a celebrity, but you're known for being a man of God.
Most High in Christ.
You know what I'm saying? Like I think that's a lot different from somebody known for being a ball player or being a rapper or you know, some slut walk person. You're known for being a quintessential soldier in Commander General General Hunter's army under the Most High in Christ.
Yeah, because that's what's the difference. So most celebrities are celebrities for what gift they have that they curated. So if they're a singer or a rapper, comedian, whatever, they're famous for that. I'm only a celebrity or important because of what I do for the Most High.
Right.
So how could I say, yeah, this is me? I couldn't say that because this ain't me. I was just a cat that was good on computers, but still am good on networking computers and stuff like that. Nobody knew me. If I walked down the street, nobody would say, hey, what's going on, Tyree? They wouldn't say that. So everything that I get is because of what I do for the Most High. So because of that, that's what keeps me not wanting to go into like being, even when I meet celebrities, I don't, like the Moneybag Mafia cat, like we kicked it. We were supposed to do a skit in Atlanta, which I'm hoping when we get back to when I get back to Atlanta in June, that we're able to do the skit, but I'm able to bring him to class. I meet the brother Genuine. And then when I talk to these brothers, you see that they ain't as boasting as it might be. Now it could be because I don't carry myself that way. So when you say filming, you said when you was at the Harvey thing, you wasn't sure about filming. You gotta film that. We have to film every single thing we do. Otherwise the earth doesn't know that we exist.
Right.
And to be honest, I don't care how controversial it is. General Hyman got all the flack for the B word. General Hyman got the flack for that Chris Rock thing. All of that controversial stuff is necessary because it sparks the conversation, it sparks the response, and it sparks the teaching. The scriptures say, if by any means I may provoke the emulation, them which are my flesh. That's what Paul said in Romans, the 11th chapter. So these are all the things that we're supposed to do. And we have to do, because what are we battling? The principalities of this world. All these other religions and this community, when I'm talking about the community, like that LBGT community, they are all pushing what they saying is the way we're supposed to live. But if God wants us to live according to what he says, we have to compete with that. And that's what you have to do. We're in full out competition with everything that's not serving the Most High. And that's facts. So you have to do what is necessary to get it out there. That's it.
And so one of the things I've seen you do, you go on, you've been on the Kill Stream with Ralph.
Yeah.
Have they put you in the Hall of Fame yet?
I think I gotta ask him. He said they put me in there. This is a white man, so we don't know if it's true or not.
Right.
So, we gotta check that out. He might be lying. But he did say he put me up in there, so I'm gonna just check and confirm. But I am, I think I'm the only black guy in their Hall of Fame.
That's crazy. I'm not saying he's a white supremacist, but
oh yeah, they're white supremacists. Why they not? Listen, I'm
talking about the guy,
Ralph. Yeah,
he a white supremacist too.
I think all of them. Ralph, the Twitter Spaces I was on, they all white supremacists. That's why they like us. White supremacists do not hate our type of Israelite because they look at it like we should be separate from each other. And then they don't like the so-called Jewish guy. And because we don't like the so-called Jewish guy, they look at that as the median of where we can communicate. That's why when I go on their spaces or they go on their shows, who am I going against mostly? A Jewish guy. Sometimes now, Ralph, I will give Ralph credit. Ralph will let me go against like a white supremacist type, so to speak. But yeah, they all white supremacists.
And they hate the Jewish man. So I
guess
it's like a plus for you to go on there and do what you do for them.
And that's why I always like to say y'all the same white people. And they don't like that, but they the same white people.
So you got like the Kill Stream, Jesse Lee Peters, Kanye, what's the brother name now? Tommy, how you say his last name?
Tommy Sotomayor.
Tommy Sotomayor. No jumper. Like you are pushing it. I know this ain't the end goal, but like you're on these platforms and like matter of fact about the Jesse Lee Peters, like you're one of my favorite battlers.
Right.
So like anytime you're in a battle and someone asks you a question, I'm answering it, just trying to see if I'm going to say what you're going to say.
If you get the same answer, okay.
You know what I'm saying? So, and when I watched Jesse Lee Peters, and he asked you something that I don't know if anybody ever asked you, he said, "Do you hate Satan?"
Right.
And I'm in my mind, I'm like, hey, yo, hate this nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like it's Satan. Of course I hate this nigga. And you was like, no.
Yeah, I said, I don't hate or love him. I said, I don't hate or love him.
Then he asked you, but do you love him? Because either you hate him or you love him.
Right.
And you say, no, I don't. Then you said, you don't hate or love any angel.
Right.
And I'm sitting there like, mind blown. Like he would have put me. Now, I don't know if hating Satan would have been the wrong answer.
Right.
But if that was the answer, if that was the box answer, I was in the body bag. You know what I'm saying? So just to think on your feet like that with that reasoning, because did you know he was gonna ask that?
I've never been asked that question ever.
So
I didn't. Go ahead.
That's what I'm saying. So to just answer it so perfectly, is that studying? Is that just what is that?
That's the Most High, man. I try to I ain't that smart. Like when Jesse Lee Peterson say I'm black and slow, I could be black and slow, but the Lord's smart. So I knew when he asked that question, the hate was emotional, and I'm just not emotional. So, like you said, the initial thing is, well, I'm gonna hate Satan. I'm supposed to hate Satan. But then if Satan is obeying the Most High, I'm not emotional about it. I'm just never listening to Satan, but I'm not emotional about the whole I love him or hate him. I'm just not obeying him. So that's just the first thing that popped up in my head. And I knew what I did know was that when I gave him that answer, he wasn't expecting that answer. And that's what I always do. I always think of, okay, he's expecting me to say this, but I'm going to say this. And that's in the scriptures. Like when they came to Christ and said, should we pay taxes? So now they expected Christ to say, no, because we serve God. But Christ said, whose face is on the money? They said Caesar. He said, so render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, render unto the Lord what is the Lord's, because it's not a sin to pay taxes to Caesar.
Right.
So it's not a sin to say I don't hate or love an angel, because I'm just not emotional about it. So that's how I looked at that question when he gave it to me.
So now Clubhouse. So at one point, the only way to, outside of somebody, I guess, calling your phone personally, coming to class, catching you at camp, or calling across the line. But you come to Clubhouse, where I think Clubhouse is like, out of all the social media platforms, probably the most intimate social media platform in terms of communication.
Right.
Because it's like right there. You're not like Facebook. I write a message to you. You come back and read it. Twitter, I tweet. You tweet. I see the notification. I come back. Instagram, same thing. It's under the picture. But Clubhouse, like I can't. Somebody can ask me a question, and I take 30 minutes to go, call Captain Zara like I would usually do on Facebook.
Right. So you gotta be ready right there.
Ready right there.
Right.
And for you to step into that space, and you dominated it. You think about the before we had houses and all that, you were one of the voices. When it came down to any of the serious issues, when it came down to when child abuse or spousal abuse, anything that came up, you stood with it.
Right. Even like counseling in the Clubhouse when they had issues, that too.
The white girl, remember the?
Yeah. I forget what her name was.
I don't remember what her name was.
I used to call her something. I'm not gonna say it here.
We can't say it.
But I forget what her. Catherine. Yeah, Catherine.
And so you stood for people who didn't agree with us, people who, when General Hyman said things that they didn't understand, they shunned us.
Yeah.
But when they came down to it and they needed somebody to stand on business, you never, like you said, you're not emotional. You never looked at it like, nah, y'all need me. You just did it.
Right.
What is that? Like, is that discipline? Like, what is that for you to be able to just put those emotions aside and stand on business when you got to?
When Clubhouse first came out, I had the account when it first came out, but I didn't utilize it. If you want to know the truth, why I started going on Clubhouse is because other Israelites was on Clubhouse that not worthy to be on Clubhouse teaching, talk about the word of the Lord.
Right.
And so our voice wasn't heard on there. And I remember going on there one day, and I think I might have been in a Grand Rising room or something like that. And that one conversation, I think the brothers and sisters like, yeah, we needed y'all on here because these other Israelites, all they be doing is just yelling and screaming and stuff like that. And so when they said that, I said, okay, this is a space where, number one, it's an audio app and it's easy because I was traveling for my job at the time. So, you know, when you're driving, instead of listening to music, I would just listen to musical classes. So now I would just have this audio app going. So I'm driving, I'm at the job, so I could just be on here doing, you know, just talking because it's just an audio app. And when I realized that you had all these Israelites, you heard me say anybody create a camp, you know what I mean? And they think that's the truth. And so now I just come on there and I say, well, let's just establish ISUBK and who the real Israelites are. Who has the proper breakdowns, who has the proper protocols, who can judge matters. But I knew coming into that it would require more patience than anywhere else because of it being an audio app and anybody being able to talk. Like, because it's real time. If somebody makes a crazy post and a crazy comment, you can just ignore it, come back to it later. But on the audio app, they can call you out your name right there, what you're gonna do. And so being that they're saying all these other Israelites is all emotional, I'm already not emotional. I don't get bothered by people's words. I said, okay, when he say this crazy stuff, I just deal with it this way. I knew that somebody had to be a vanguard. And so when issues would arise, that's when, like, people be thinking breakdowns make you the best. It don't. When stuff hits the fan and you gotta actually deal with the real issue, everybody on the app is gonna see how are you gonna deal with this issue. And so the Catherine situation, everybody thought the issue was just talking about her. I knew the issue was getting rid of her. So how do you get rid of her? You have to press where the people are defending her at. So now this is a white woman making fun of slaves, making fun of black women. So now I have to go at the people that's allowing it. And so that's what I did. And then when I found out that I could make them go at each other, then the other people stand with it. So now people see that. There were some sisters that was griping that they were told by Israelites in there that if they weren't married, they wouldn't get in the kingdom. I ain't read that nowhere in the Bible.
That's crazy.
I have not read nowhere in the Bible that a man or woman has to be married to be in the kingdom. So you know what that taught me? Oh, these cats chasing tail. Because if you tell a woman she got to be married to get into the kingdom, that woman is going to look to marry anybody because she think I got to marry to get in the kingdom. So now I become the voice of them. So I slowly started seeing that Clubhouse did not have a voice for men or women in the truth. What I mean by in the truth, I'm talking about a man in the truth that could be the voice for men and women. So then I just said, okay, this is the lane. So I'm good at finding out, okay, what lane should you be in? Okay, this is the lane I'm gonna be in. So I don't have to even battle scriptures too much. I'm more so the voice of reason, the judge. Like even on the hunter side, I became the judge on the hunter side. I didn't ask to be the judge. They said we need a judge. Now these is gangs. You got drug dealers, in some case homosexuals, gang members, thieves, crooks, trying to hash out issues on the app. And they say we need a judge that's going to be unbiased. And they say, let's get to Zaryak. Now I'm the Israelite. They know I believe in the Bible. I don't believe in nothing that they stand for, but they knew that I would be able to judge the matter. So that's the lane that I knew Clubhouse did not have. They got a bunch of scholars. Everybody's smart. So I didn't want to be that. I wanted to be what they didn't have. And so that's what I looked at Clubhouse as.
And I think the way you did that, Cap, like it was like we used to joke about it. You being what was the walking green bean?
Yeah, the walking green bean.
No matter where you at, you're gonna be a green, you're gonna be a moderator.
Yep. Still
so,
to this day.
I mean, the battles. There are some people that you battled who others would say shouldn't have gotten the time of day.
Right.
What was the thought process behind like the ghetto presidents and just whoever these random, I got an email address and a cell phone, so now I'm on Clubhouse Scholars. Like, what was the thought process behind taking all of these battles?
To build the school, so in Clubhouse, ghettos in Cleveland or something like that. So there's people in the Midwest that might think he's smart. So now I'll look at the audience. So on Clubhouse, if it's 50 people, 75 people, 100 people in there, I never really look at it like I'm battling this person. I look at it like I'm teaching the people. So none of them, y'all, you name it ghetto prayers, but if you take, I can't even remember no name now because they all like ghetto prayers to me.
Right.
So all of them are the same to me. So I don't look at it like, oh, this is ghetto prayers, this is a nobody. I just look at it as I'm on the app and I would just pick a moment to battle and then I would just battle. Sometimes I might say, I don't want to talk to you right now. I don't feel like doing it right now. Like that guy Golden Swords, for example. I only entertain him if I'm tired. Like I was driving down, when we was driving to North Carolina and I was getting sleepy. I go into a room and I said, oh, he's in here. He's an idiot. He gonna wake me up. And I just entertained him for that reason. That's the only reason I entertain him. So all of them are the same to me on Clubhouse. There is no ranking structure. There is no, oh, let me get this guy because he has 5,000. Let me not get this guy because he has 1. They're all the same. I look at the moment. Is this the moment to battle or is this the moment not to battle? That's how I look at it.
Well, I know as the times go, I mean, we always keep a foothold on it. Whether it been Facebook, we on there dominating.
Right.
We go to Clubhouse, we on there dominating. You on Twitter Spaces, you on there.
Yeah, that's new for me too.
Dominating.
Yeah.
The podcast, I see you got 11,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
You're on the podcast now, dominating. What's next?
I don't know. I'll talk to the general. I'm trying to get into doing more interviews in the world. That's really where I want to go, to where the Israelite thing is cool, but everybody's going to be in agreement in the Israelites. You know what I mean? So I would rather go into worldly spaces. Like my whole reason for going into the hunter side, first of all, I thought Wack was corny. I thought the name itself was corny in New York. I'm not talking about the individual, just the name. I'm from New York. Wack is Wack. Wack is that's corny. If you say this is Wack. Now, once I found out why he got his name, it was different, but initially that's what I thought. But when I got into the hunter side, the way I got into the hunter side is the way I want to get outside of Clubhouse, because that's where we're needed the most. Christ didn't go to the righteous. Christ went to the unrighteous. Christ said, they that are healed have no need of a physician, but they that are sick. So the sick is everybody in the celebrity world. We see what's happening with Diddy. The trippy part about Diddy getting all the flack that he's getting, which he deserves, as I'm following the Diddy line and everybody having a compassion on Cassie, what I'm also hearing is that at one point, Cassie was laughing at Kim Porter when what was happening to Kim Porter. When Kim Porter was getting abused by Diddy, they saying Cassie was laughing. So now it's a lane to where is Cassie as innocent? Although she got beat up by Diddy, which is wrong, is she as innocent as she's portraying? So that lets me know that we're needed in those spaces and avenues too. We got to get to all of them. And they're watching. When I brought up Genuine is an artist that I met back in, I think, March. He was performing at the Brooklyn Center in March. Now, he's a cat that I didn't think would be following me. He follows me. He invites me to the concert that he's having. And when I meet him, he's a humble cat. And so you never know who's watching you. So if they're watching us and they're making it accessible, we have to take advantage of that. So we have to bring the word of the Lord to them. So that's kind of where I would like to go. I would like to get into that type of realm, like the Breakfast Club, being able to speak, and so that they can hear that these black men and women in the ghettos that you think is nothing, that you think all they can do is just twerk or sell drugs, it's a lot more that they can do, because we all come from that world. And if we're taught twerking and stuff is the answer, then that's what we're going to believe. But if somebody can go out there and say, no, that's not the answer, you can do this and still be gangster Because that's what a lot of men think. A lot of men think when you go into the church, you're going to be sissified because that's where you go to be effeminate. But when you find out you can still be a man, being a man of the Lord, they need to see that. And, you know, so that's what I like. Like Moneybagg Mafia does that thing with the Lord is a man. Yeah. The Lord is a man. Like that skit right there, that's good for us. That's not bad. You know what I mean? Because now I wish more people would make fun. But in their mind, well, he wasn't making fun of us, just so everybody understand. He actually admired us, and that's why he did it. But if we can get more people talking about the Bible and less people talking about twerking and drug dealing, the better. So that's where I would like it to go.
And to double back on the Clubhouse on the 100 side, that's to go into that space and have them talking about the Bible, like using Hebrew, talking about Salakia and Shalom and doing the salute and Tawada and coming to class. When we started the house on their side, they coming to class, asking questions. Like that was the work, and you was the spearhead of it.
Yeah, and I still communicate with a lot of them to this day. Like even when Tommy and Wack was going at it, one of their people called me while they going at it saying, I don't know why Wack doing it. That's not true. While the battle's going. Like, you know how much fish we got up out of there? We got a bunch of good fish people listening. It's hell going in it though. But if you ain't willing to fight for your people, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It's just words. Imagine real life. Like you was talking about the Africans going, what? That's real life. Right. You outside now. If I can deal with the Africans going wild in front of the camp, for sure I could deal with some cat just saying some words and stuff like that online. I mean, our skin got to be a little thicker than that. So, but that's where we need to be. And that's where everybody else is at. This is the media world today. It ain't a lot of, it's like stuff happens in real life, but people take that social media real. So the Israelites, we have to be real online. You know, you have to conduct yourself a certain way. You have to act a certain way. They can't see you not being like an Israelite. They can't see you that way. And the more they see you that way, the more they gonna push you. And so when I go, and you can see it in real time, because when you go out, whether you got your Israelite attire on or not, it's a spirit that you carry, the way that you conduct yourself.
So now, I mean, I know we all do it for a crown. None of us out here like doing it for pats on the back. You know what I'm saying? Like we trying to build a society, you know what I'm saying, and bring that age of us ruling, where we don't have to worry about, you know, the drugs you spoke about early on. You know what I'm saying? The gang violence and the homosexuality that they doing in the 100 side, or any of these evils that's going on in the world. We trying to bring that to a reality. We're not doing it for a pat on the back, but I still want to say Tawada, sir. Like the work you've done, I mean, the examples you set, like being like myself, like I said, you one of my favorite battlers. Like I you know, to watch you from, matter of fact, when I came to New York for the battle with the Malik Shabazz, and I remember first when I was talking to Gabbar, I was like, yeah, I think we're gonna go to Cap House. He was like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, man, I think we're going over there. So when we pull up and you had us in Jersey, you had us at the Trap. Right. I was like, well, it's the Trap, but you know, but we in here. Right. And to see, like, you preparing, I mean, you had the computer up, you had all the information going. I'm saying to myself, like, why would he, I mean, you need this part? And I'm listening to you and Captain Cousins, I talk, and you're like, yeah, I know he's going to say this. He probably going to bring this up right here. And then we go to the battle, and everything you said this brother was gonna say, he was gonna pull up, you had a plan for. Like that's preparation. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's not just you know, if you serve him, he's just gonna magically do it. Yeah, it ain't magic, right. And we talk so much about practicality. And it's practical to put the works with the faith. You've done that. No sign, correct. And if anybody got a question, you can go ahead and ask. Because I ain't want to keep you too much longer, but I did want to say, Tawada, sir. You know what I'm saying? I know we don't do it for it, but I've gotten some, I don't want to say some counsel, but I've gotten permission to thank you. So
Okay.
also we put something together for it. I want to show you if you don't mind.
Okay, no, I don't mind. You got permission for this too?
Yeah. I've learned my lesson. I've learned my lesson, sir. I'm going to ask. There's nothing wrong with asking.
What's that?
Just press play.
Just press, you say press play?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you hold it, turn the volume on real quick.
We're filming.
Press play now?
Yeah, press play.
On what? Wait. On this thing here? Oh, up top. Oh, my bad. Oh, shut up, man. Is the volume up?
Yeah, I just turned it up.
Okay. Let me check this out. Oh, okay. Wow. The Baptist.
Screen so that it'll close up.
Yo, can I get that intro? Can I get that intro?
We go to actually rally and stand together and be set apart, which every nation in America can do that. The Chinese can do that, the Arabs can do that, the Jewish man.
Supports that in America. And now you want me to feel sorry for South Africa, West Africa, or any other part of Africa. Fuck them.
We are the Jew, and they are Jewish, like that. Jew.
That's what I'm talking about.
Don't sit here
I like that one. Yeah, I need this. I like this one.
If you're gonna cross the line, cross the fucking line. Otherwise, get the fuck out of here. That's what
I would like to take this moment to show we're truly missing the mark on what it really means in 2017 for black men. For black men, for black women,
Y'all got the
we
part
have
where
a
I check
greater
out this
issue
place
than
is?
what happened in the past. And if we don't do that, we short it. ISUBK are not affiliated with no other Israelite group. Tonight proved that reason. Shalom.
They was hot.
Dr. Matah, dismissed. That's power. That's power. Hey, black power at that. Hey, Shalom, Israel. I'm Captain Marquardt.
I think this going out of my car now.
No.
Can I get that? I appreciate that, man. The water.
It ain't over.
It ain't over.
Oh, my bad.
ISUBK Midwest.
Shalom. This is Captain Tom Ward from the Israelite School of UPK.
Officer Shapat, 5,000 at ISUBK.
Hey, Shalom. Precinct Captain 10,000 Soccer War down here in Memphis, Tennessee.
Captain DeBar Mock, man. ISUBK Milwaukee.
Hey, Shalom with the Christ, man. It's Captain Doha from Southern California.
Precinct Officer 50, Yabakan Banya Howard.
Officer 5,000 Holland. Over Michigan, Pittsburgh, Canada, Cleveland. That's right.
Priest Double One, Southern California.
I'm on here, in honor of my brother, my friend, Captain Tazariak.
Oh, y'all trying to get me all emotional and shit. That's what y'all trying to do.
Tazariak and all the glorious work he's done for brothers.
Day one, Captain Tazariak, you've been a brother that's been a pillar in the truth. You know what I'm saying? Pushing the truth, restoring honor and integrity to the name of Israel.
And we just want to give a special thanks and a big shout out to my brother, main man, the killer himself, Captain Tazariak.
Just want to give a big shout out to my big brother, man.
That's one nigga right there.
Captain Tazariak.
Captain Tazariak has definitely been one of them icons that I've looked up to, man, coming into the truth.
In the spirit of the Most High.
On behalf of Commander Jenny Hanna.
The water, Captain Tazariak, for your service.
The water for your service, sir.
Captain Tazariak, man, thank you for your service.
We want to say for water, brother, for your service.
The water for your service, sir.
The water, sir.
The water for your service.
The water, Captain Tazariak, for your service.
The water, sir, for all your service, man. We really appreciate you.
General Hanna said it best. His brother is a spearhead in the work of the Lord.
Alawapaya, Barak.
Clap it up, Bakim. Listen, man, if I could just have a moment of your time, I wanted to speak about someone who is dear to me like a son. I remember this brother when he first came into school, man. He is Captain Tazariak, and he is at the tip of the spear of the work that Commanding General Yohana does in this country. He is an absolutely amazing officer, an amazing priest, and an amazing son. And every brother around the world, man, has benefited from his hard work under Commanding General Yohana, his diligence. And I absolutely support him, and I am so proud of him every day. I want to say the water for your service, brother. The water for your service, Captain Tazariak. Keep going, and if you brothers need a leader, if you need someone to pattern yourself after, man, absolutely you can look at him and depend on him. The water, Captain Tazariak, for your service, warrior. I appreciate you.
Y'all got General Hyman to say that? Y'all bad. The water, I appreciate it. Man, I appreciate that, man. Thank you, man. So I ain't got to say nothing. I ain't got to ever say nothing again. Y'all did all the thinking. The water, General Hyman, the generals, the captains, officers in that clip, man, I appreciate it, man. And it's just a testament to just how I was raised. That's it. That's the best I could tell you. I'm only what I am because of the men above me. Nobody else is better than us, period.
All right,
so I need the beginning of that, the Baptist.
I got you, sir.
Yeah, I just like that intro. That might be my new intro for my videos. I'm gonna send it to Karab and say, put this in the beginning.
Well, that's it, sir.
That's it? Oh, the water, man. I
don't want to keep you too long, sir.
Oh, no sweat, man. Y'all trapped me with that last.